Hey there, how's it going? It is your muscle building coach, Lee Hayward, and I've got a question sent in through one of my subscribers, Stephen, and he's asking about set and rep patterns, and he wants to know how strict should one follow a given workout program in terms of the sets and the reps. And he wrote me out a very lengthy email basically explaining different programs that he's following and things like that, and explaining his personal situation. So I'm not going to read it out word for word because it is lengthy, but I am going to highlight some of the key points that he did mention. One, how strict should you follow a set and rep pattern? Now, generally speaking, it's just a guideline. You know, if you have a program, let's just say you have a basic beginner's workout program and it says do 3 sets of 10 repetitions. Well, if you can do more than 10 reps, it's okay to do more. If you can't hit 10 reps, it's okay to do less, right? It's not that big a deal in the greater scheme of things. But you should try and stick to the protocol as close as you can. So if you can do more reps than what's required, then adjust the weight for your next workout so that you stay within that guideline. If you can't do as many reps as what's required, then adjust your weight, lighten it up for the next workout so that you can perform close to the guideline. And try and adjust your workouts accordingly. And ideally, the way that it's going to work is as you get bigger and as you get stronger, you're going to stick to the same set and rep pattern, but the weights are going to gradually increase. I mean, that's the basis of progressive overload. So, I mean, as you get stronger, you're going to gradually build up the weights so that you're doing the same sets and reps with heavier weight. Another question that he had was, how often should you train to failure in your workout routine? And this is kind of a wild card because there's a lot of different variables and it really depends on the individual. It depends on the exercise you're doing. It depends on your fitness goals. Again, there's a lot of variables here when it comes to training to failure. For someone who's new to working out and they're basically just want to lose weight, build muscle, get in shape, feel better, the average person, they don't really need to train to failure. Pushing the limits is not a requirement in order to get in shape. You can make great progress by stopping your sets short of failure and just being consistent with your workouts, consistent with your weight training, consistent with your cardio, consistent with proper nutrition, and doing that over the long term will move you in the right direction towards building a better physique in terms of losing weight, getting in shape, feeling better, looking better, all that. For a bodybuilder, things change a bit because now you're taking that base level of fitness and moving it up to a higher level, right? I mean, obviously, anyone who's interested in bodybuilding, and especially a competitive bodybuilder that is, they've already got a base level of fitness achieved. So now they want to take it to the next level. And this is where you need to be more strict with your training, push yourself a little harder, but also be respectful of your body and realize that, there's a fine line between pushing it and going over that line and getting injured. So you're kind of, riding the limit when you're pushing yourself for competitive bodybuilding and basically competitive athletics in general. But my general guideline of training to failure is, for isolation exercises, it's generally okay. So for example, if you rep out to failure with bicep curls, or you rep out to failure with leg extensions or leg curls or various machine exercises, for the most part that's okay and it's safe to do. You can rep out to failure safely without a lot of risk of injury. But when it comes to your big compound lifts, things like bench presses, squats, deadlifts, overhead presses. When you push yourself to failure with these exercises, the risk to reward ratio is not always in your favor. I mean, let's just take the bench press for example. If you are regularly repping out to failure, where you are down, you have the barbell stapled to your chest and you are struggling to push that up and you're pushing with all your might and then you have to get a spotter to pull that barbell off. You're only going to do that so often before something is going to give. You're going to pull something, tear something, snap your shit up, as they say. Your shoulders are under a lot of strain, your chest is under a lot of strain, your elbows, all these muscles, tendons, joints, ligaments, I mean, everything is straining at its capacity. And if you do that on a regular basis, it's only a matter of time before something has to give. And if you get injured, then that is the biggest thing that's going to slow your progress. I mean, stopping a set short of failure is not going to slow your progress. You can still make gains stopping a rep or two shy of failure. That is totally fine. you know, you're not going to be at a disadvantage of doing that. But if you push beyond and get injured, then that injury, I mean, it may only be a minor injury, like a little minor pull that's, you know, you're laid up for a couple weeks, or it could be a serious injury. You may tear a muscle and you could be laid up for months. I mean, if it's something like a pec tear, I mean, that may never ever recover. You may always have this big old deformed, you know, gap in your chest due to a pec tear, and then that you're basically scarred for life. And if you go on Google and just do like a Google image search for pec tear, and you'll see all kinds of messed up chests from people who've pushed the limit and beyond. And you don't want to do that, right? I mean, if you can avoid getting injured, then by all means do so. Being a little bit conservative in your training and just holding back the reins just a little bit can very often lead to better progress over the long term. And again, that applies with all your big basic compound lifts, you know, your squats. I mean, if you regularly rep out to failure with squats where you're stuck down in the bottom position with a loaded barbell across your back, and you either have to dump the weight or get a spotter to help you stand up, again, it's only a matter of time before something's going to give. You know, you're going to pull out your lower back, you're going to, you know, screw up your knees, you're going to screw up your hips. Something is going to give if you're pushing yourself to the limit on a regular basis like that. So you have to be a bit conservative with the big, heavy compound lifts. And use this as a guideline. The heavier the exercise, the more respectful you have to be of your body and of the movement. So that the heavier the move, the more you want to be a little bit conservative. You know, hold back the reins a little bit so that you can stay safe and stay injury-free. The lighter the exercise, meaning, you know, isolation moves, it's okay to kind of push yourself a little bit harder, because the lighter the weight, the risk of injury is much lower, and what you're getting into is basically muscle fatigue, where, you know, it's lactic acid buildup and it's just the muscles themselves are getting fatigued, not necessarily that you're pushing the limits of your strength capacity and that you're, you know, on the limit of tearing muscles and tearing tendons and ligaments and stuff like that. It's generally just fatigue accumulating in the muscle when you're doing isolation exercises, and that's why it's safer to do those type of movements to failure. Hopefully that helps to answer your question, Stephen. For those of you watching, if you have any questions, comments, or feedback that you'd like to share, please feel free to post those down in the comment section below, and I will chat with you down there. And if you haven't already done so, make sure to subscribe to the Total Fitness Bodybuilding YouTube channel so that you can stay up to date with all my latest videos. Have yourself a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you in my next video. Take care. Over and out. And just one more thing before you go. I have a special gift for you. It's a free 51-page report called The 3 Keys to Building Muscle. This report is an easy read, and it covers the fundamentals to getting in shape: training, nutrition, and mindset. The training section will show you how to combine strength training workouts and cardio conditioning together for building lean muscle while burning body fat at the same time. The nutrition section will show you how to figure out the exact number of calories that you need for your body type and the proper ratio of protein, carbohydrates, and fat. It even outlines a sample daily meal plan that you can follow along with. And finally, the section on mindset will help set you up for success by taking a practical and realistic approach to goal setting and following through with your fitness program. To download your copy, just click on the link in the video description below or visit my website at leehayward.com.